Okay, you're good to go.
Okay, sounds great. I'd like to call to order the Finance Committee meeting of Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. It is 1:01 p.m. We're fairly timely, and we're live on a digital platform. We have 4 items on today's agenda, and present here at the meeting, we have Randy Allison, Eric Biter, and myself, Liz Mealy from the Finance Committee, as well as Bonnie Katz visiting today for the meeting. Hi, Bonnie. And then we have from the administration, Peg Woodring in the controller's office, Valerie Fessler from community development, Bill Scott, the city engineer, Scott Livermore, Janice Frank, Chris Black. We have Sean Bastian here with a PennDOT resolution. Okay, and I believe I captured everybody on the call. Oh, Dee Fuller. I apologize. I should know who that is, but I don't. It's not coming to me.
HR.
HR. Sorry, Donna. Okay. I'm still learning. I apologize. I'll figure it out one of these days. Okay. All right. Then we have 3 items on today's agenda, and we are waiting yet on Jamie Livermore, who will be joining us here shortly for item number 2. Unless, Donna, are you planning to present that?
No, I wasn't planning on.
Just checking in, just in case. Okay.
Observe. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Item number 1 is a resolution to approve an agreement between the City of Williamsport and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania through PennDOT for a non-exclusive video sharing license agreement. Sean?
Yep. So it's a simple contract between us and PennDOT. This will allow not only Williamsport Police, but any Williamsport city entity to access the PennDOT real-time traffic cams. And usually you can access them through 511.com, but it's like a 30-second snippet and you had to constantly reload. This will actually give us a login and we can just stream the cameras as we need them. This will be helpful for like Little League time, where we can actually request temporary setup cameras for PennDOT to set us around, as well as the 2 cameras that are already located in the city. One's at the Spur and another one's on Market Street Bridge.
Okay. And the purpose, not that I have any beef with this, but the purpose of accessing that footage?
So one example would be like the numerous rollovers at the Spur. It can give fire department, whoever's incident command, live view, as well as, again, Little League. PennDOT usually sets up temporary traffic cams for Little League. We would have access to them during Little League time. 4th of July, it just gives us a real-time image of cameras that we don't presently have.
Got it. Does this allow us to pursue any sort of traffic citations or things like that, or is it more video imagery to assist us if there's an incident?
Correct. Yeah, it's just to be able to look, there's MVA on the bridge. We can get a almost instant look at what's going on with traffic and everything else.
Okay. This being the Finance Committee, Sean, could you outline any potential cost to the city from this agreement?
Yep. Section, I had it up. There's no cost to the city to access their IP. If you look at Section 12 costs, access to the Commonwealth IP is free of charge. So basically, we'll just get a username and login once this is approved.
Okay. And we don't have any costs on our end to install software or anything like that we would need to run it?
Nope, it's web-based, so just go to a website and log in.
Okay. Sounds great. All right. Eric, Randy, questions from you?
So is this like a permanent setup that we can access?
Yeah, it's web-based, so anybody with internet access could log into the web page at any point anywhere. So it doesn't have to be on the city's network. It can be, as long as you have internet, you have access to the cameras.
Okay. So
but only if you work for the city, right, Sean? Obviously.
Correct. Yeah, I can't just give this out to everybody. Yeah, it's for city employees.
I'm pretty sure there was a stipulation in the agreement that we weren't allowed to just hand the passwords out like candy. All right.
Right, yep.
Sorry, Randy.
Yeah, and there's some provisions in there, like we can't rebroadcast and all that, the usual stuff, so.
Right. And are these cameras already in place?
Yes, there's, like I said, there's two in the city right now permanently.
Yeah.
One that looks at Market Street Bridge, another one that looks at the spur. And then usually during Little League time, PennDOT will bring cameras on trailers. If you're ever coming down Route 15 right
Okay.
before Little
All
League,
right.
those will give
Yeah.
us access to those as well. And actually, we
Okay.
could access any camera across the whole Commonwealth.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, okay. I guess I misunderstood the first time you ran through that. I thought maybe there were, outside of what you just mentioned, that there were some other cameras out there that were possible to access. And who would kind of oversee when we ask for access? Who would be the person that would say that was okay to do?
So the request could come through me, and then I have a contact at PennDOT, Brandy, who I've been working with. So say if I would need a new login, I would contact her. She would give me the information she needs to make the login, and then she will then send me the information on that person's credentials.
Okay. So there's definitely controls in place there. Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Okay. Eric, anything further from you?
The only question I had, Sean, was video recordings.
Mhm.
Are we pulling them from somewhere else, or can we pull a recording, say a 60-second snippet if we need to off of that?
It's just live view only. There's no
Okay.
recording or review capability.
Okay.
Okay. Got it. Well, that I suppose is somewhat exciting. I mean, theoretically, then that would also give us, if we were trying to track someone who had left the city or something like that, that might give us some ability to do that via cameras elsewhere in the state. Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
I'm kind of hoping that we wouldn't have to do that, but presuming that we probably do. So that would be
Yeah.
helpful. Okay. All right. Any other questions from anyone else? Bonnie, anything from you?
No, Liz, thank you for asking.
Okay. All right. Then thanks, Sean, for presenting this. Seems like a relative no-brainer to me, since there's no cost to us and no real additional, no obligation on the part of the city. It just seems like it would work out better for us in the long run. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Liz, I do have a quick question for Sean. Do you know
Sure.
how you can go on the internet to other cities and you can see what the traffic pattern is? I can go to State College. There have been some other cities I've looked at that we were going to go through. We don't have anything like that, do we? That's access to the public, to our city traffic. Do we, Sean?
We as the city don't provide any information on our traffic, but the system that I believe you're talking about is the 511 PA. These are the same cameras that 501 PA has. But like I said, instead of the 30-second cap that they have on 501 PA, we'll be able to watch it endlessly. But as far as the city feeding any data, no, we don't have anything to report real-time traffic.
Okay, I was just curious. Then the other cities that do this, do they finance that, or how do they do that, Sean?
A lot of the information, from my understanding, comes from companies like Google, where their phone, when you're using Google Maps or you're using Apple Maps, it detects traffic flow from each individual user's phone and it gets imported that way. I'm not sure of any manual way of feeding traffic data from like the city side to PennDOT. That would be something I'd have to look into.
I was just curious because it was fascinating, especially when we wanted to go to State College for their Arts Fest and you saw where the traffic was. You were able to judge which direction you wanted to go. So I was just curious. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I think, Bonnie, that a lot of that is privately generated at this point. There are a lot of apps out there that'll show you things like Strava that also, that can show you data on use that's not necessarily being handled by the government. But
Which
it
is
is exciting. Yeah. If I could ask one quick question,
Yep.
Sean, and this may not, I'm assuming this would go nowhere, but we have periodically been after things like traffic counts at intersections in the city. It might be wise to at least get together with streets and parks, and if we have access to this information, when PennDOT is setting up additional cameras, if any of them fall within the city and we happen to need counts, it might be something that we could try to coordinate there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've paid quite a bunch of money to put people to monitor traffic counts at intersections over the years. If there were a way to do it more cheaply, that might be handy. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to the next item. I still don't see Jamie on here, unless I'm missing something. So we'll go next to item number 3, a resolution awarding construction services for the Elm Parks Improvements Project to Lancer. Who's leading off? Bill, is that you?
Yeah, sure. I'll kick this off. So we opened bids. Oh my gosh, a couple weeks ago, we received 2 bids. One from Big Rock, bid of $860,860. They were actually the low bid. We received another bid from Landserv, $894,177.90. These are the base bids. So this work is at Elm Park. It's to put new paved walkways to the ball fields, to the concession stand. That area is going to be paved. New restrooms, concrete under the pavilion where the picnic tables are. New paved parking spaces, handicap accessible parking spaces. There'll be 2 of those, plus I believe 4 regular parking spaces right there at the entrance. That was all the work for the base bid. We got an alternate bid. Well, no, hold on. Sorry. We're also redoing the tennis courts. There's 6 tennis courts. We're going to convert 3 of them to 6 pickleball courts. So when this is done, there'll be 3 tennis courts and 6 pickleball courts. That's all in the base bid. We got an alternate bid to add lighting at the tennis courts pickleball area. Those prices, let's see here, back to Big Rock. The ad alternate was $239,140. So their total bid was $1,100,000. Landserv, their alternate bid was $451,092. So their total bid was $1,345,269.90. We're recommending that we go with Landserv for the base bid, again in the amount of $894,177.90. We've reviewed the bid. They've worked for the city on 2 past projects. Scott has worked with them. The splash pad, he worked with them. He was very happy with their work there. They also did work in Brandon Park at the, what do you call it, the native area, that park, part of the park project there a couple of years ago. I think it was back in 2019 or so. So they have done work for the city, Landserv.
In Los Park, yeah.
What's that?
They've done Los, if you already said that.
No, I didn't say Los Park. So, Scott, do you want anything else?
No, I think this is the idea of the new restroom facilities. The existing facilities down there right now is not ADA accessible. There's been a number of times I've seen people with wheelchairs trying to get through the gravel entrance area. The whole park is obviously not getting paved, just the center portion of it. And then the paths to get the wheelchair down to each field, so they have accessible to all the fields to watch their grandkids, kids, whoever they're there to watch. The bathrooms aren't accessible, so the new ones would be accessible. These bathrooms I'm trying to figure out something to make these, we don't have any public restrooms in the city. These was going to be my kind of like a training thing with a test
Right.
run to
Mhm.
somehow, to people that come into my building, and maybe I try to get to a badge system. They get a badge to where when they walk out, it locks. It's never unlocked like some other municipalities leave it unlocked, and I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole from what I was told in the past, that we've had trouble with bathrooms in the parks that were unlocked, and it's just a mess. So these are going to be something to where if there's individuals down there playing pickleball and they want access to restrooms, they can come get a card for a year, buy a card, and then they can just go over and swipe it, unlock, go in, and then they can leave when it locks. So that's the idea. It's up front right now in the beginning stages on how I'm going to get it to work, but that's my intent.
Okay. Got it. Um, Scott, I know that we're not identical communities at all, but I will say that I go down fairly frequently with my kids to the Hufnagel Park in Lewisburg, which has a kind of a huge play area. And they have public restrooms there. It might be worth reaching out to them to see how they've handled that. They're usually in pretty good shape,
Okay.
and they're
I know
always unlocked.
Motoursville, they leave theirs unlocked during the hours of
Right.
our hours of business. And a lot of, that's when everybody's off work. They're going down to play pickleball, and then I don't want to have them locked for them. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's something worth reaching out and see how they deal with it.
Yeah, or if they've had any issues. Yeah, I mean, I
Right.
know we are different communities. Like I said, it may be that we have, especially down there by the river, I know we might have a lower percentage of or a higher percentage of unhoused people than
Right.
Lewisburg likely has, in the location that I'm talking about. But, yeah, wouldn't, since there are places that operate them, it might be worth asking. Okay. Randy, Eric, questions? Concerns?
The so we're only doing one of the ad alternatives.
We're doing the base bid. We're recommending going with the base bid from Lancer,
Okay.
not the ad alternate.
We don't have the
Okay.
funds. We don't have the funds. We just have the funds for base bid.
Yeah. This is all funded by
Yeah.
This is all
Oh,
funded by
okay.
CDBG grant funds, by the way.
Oh, so okay, I see. So where it's circled in red, then that's taken out of the.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I get it. I thought since it was in that section there, we were adding that. Get it.
Yeah.
So it looks. So the restrooms are in the a big part of the expense, correct?
You mean?
Yes.
We put
Okay.
new ones in, Randy, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, the 860 or 898, Lancer's 890. That's restrooms, that's everything hookup. Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's all I have. Thanks.
400,000 bucks, Randy, just for the actual
Yeah.
restroom, huh? Is that what you're? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, they're precast, set by a crane. They're built somewhere else. They come in, they set them down, they hook the water, electrical up. They're good to go in a half a day.
Oh, wow.
So, and the ones we were looking at are pretty much bulletproof. They're all stainless steel stuff inside to where they can't be vandalized, or well, they can be vandalized, but as far as broke, they're harder to break. They're made for communities to
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
What kind of a time frame are we looking at for start, and how's that going to affect tournaments that happen there at Elm Park?
So I'm going to be working with the tournament directors. Obviously Penn College is still down there right now. We're probably going to have to potentially, once all this rolls, if Thursday night we award it, I talked to the contractor Friday. I think they're ready to move as soon as possible. There's a lot of up in the air right now. So there's two types of bathrooms. There's a double bathroom that we had figured. but I talking to the contractor, he's saying there was a bathroom that was already built and is sitting somewhere that somebody backed out of, so which may push the time frame up. I'm trying to get it before PIAA, which is in June. But worst case scenario, we're talking start here as soon as they, as the council approves it. Worst case scenario with them would end in October, because we might have to order these bathrooms. These bathrooms are 6 months out. That's worst case. But if we can get the other bathrooms to work and it'll work for this project on the engineering side of things, we could be midsummer completion date.
Okay.
As far as to answer your question, Eric, about dealing with that, I will be working with the tournament director. We might have to have another entrance in for the tournaments that go on. Well, it'll be fenced off for safety, and the park will still run as normal for tournaments.
Okay. Yeah, there's always a million kids running around like crazy. Yep. So as long as it's fenced off, that'll be fine.
Yep.
Okay. And so quick, I mean, this is kind of a random question, but there was a minor discrepancy in the base bid. How do we deal with that? I mean, so we had one bid that was incomplete for, the low bidder was in an accurate bid for another reason, but this bid had slight price discrepancies in the base bid, and then what looked like pretty massive price discrepancies in the ad alternate bid. That does not disqualify them, correct? I just want to make
No,
sure.
that's a mathematical error. We checked those, Chris Kaiser at Bricks.
Yep.
He was a designer. He actually did all the math, and we all checked it. It was a minor miscalculation on the base bid there.
Yeah.
The alternate bid was a major couple $100,000 miss there, but we're not doing that one.
Right. So
that's even stated in the ad for bids. Mathematical errors. That's why we check them and correct them.
Okay, got it. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want us to get in some kind of hot water because we moved ahead with something that had inaccurate numbers in it. But
Liz,
like I said,
are also reviewed by CEDACOG for compliance before we award them, and they've already gone through that process.
Okay, good. Excellent. All right, and so we have, how much do we have set aside in community development, Valerie? We have 894 at least, right?
It's just a little under $900,000. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we can afford to do this. We can afford to move on it. We can afford to complete the project, and we won't need to shift any more money around. Correct? All right. And the ad alternates were exclusively lighting, Scott. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we wanted to put it out there to try to get the Brandon Park theme out there as well. We just wanted to see where they come in at. Obviously they came in a little higher, but that could be a phase. We can do that in phases, maybe go after something for next year for a phase 2 project for the lighting for that.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks for the explanation, guys. I appreciate it. And all the extensive amount of supporting documentation was helpful as well. Okay. All right. Bonnie, anything from you?
No.
Okay. Sounds good. Then where are we at? Did anybody? Oh, hi, Jamie. Sorry, Jamie did jump on. Okay.
Hello.
Hi. Then we'll move back to item number 2, a resolution authorizing professional services agreement with Acrisure Mid-Atlantic Partners Insurance Services.
Hello, everybody. Sorry for my tardiness. This resolution is for Acrisure, which has now acquired Mock and Hop. So the only change with Acrisure will be we are now going to make payments quarterly, whereas before we did monthly payments to Mock and Hop. The contract has the annual fee in there of $14,700 per quarter. Which I'd have to look at our monthly payments and gather them to see the comparability. But from my understanding from our Mock and Hop representatives, not much has changed except for the fact that they were becoming quarterly.
Okay. If you could check on that just in case,
Yep.
Jamie, for Thursday,
Yep.
but
Definitely will.
I would assume they would be interested in representing it accurately. So yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, Randy, Eric, any questions?
The two that I had were if there were going to be changes in the cost, or if any of this is changes in services. But it sounds like everything's the same.
The services are all the same according to our representatives. The cost, I will get a for sure answer for Thursday's meeting. I'll gather the costs and speak to our representatives and make sure about the cost. But
Okay.
but we still have the same representatives, the same actuaries are doing our actuarial studies. So as far as my understanding, this is just another company acquiring Mock and Hop, and
Okay.
our services will be the same.
Okay.
And the very last paragraph talks about staffing of the engagement, and that the account would be managed by an actuarial whatever consultant, including assigning other service team members to the account from among our staff as needed. So that would be covered in the total.
Yep. That's what that's what Mock and Hop currently provides.
That's what they had.
We
Okay.
deal with representatives and they provide us an actuary for items that have to be certified by an actuary.
All right. Okay, great. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay.
That was my concern, just to make sure that services stay the same, and we'd hopefully have the same account representatives because they're familiar with the issues that we've been facing.
Yep. Yeah, it sounds like this is basically, ideally, as long as the cost has stayed similar, Jamie, just a name change, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Bonnie, anything from you?
I really like the name Mock and Hoff. I'm going to miss saying that. No, I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Bonnie, that's out of our control.
I know. It's like,
Yeah.
but it was a cool name. Cool name.
It was. All right, then item number 4 on our agenda is any related items. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up for discussion today?
Liz, I just wanted to share related to the bathrooms at Elm Park that we just finished our comprehensive parks and recreation study with Evolve, the grant that we got from DCNR, and it was definitely brought up to them the public's desire to have public restrooms versus the sometimes public safety or public works concerns. And we did ask them to provide us with a variety of different solutions on how other communities are handling that based on public input. So I'll look forward to getting that, and then obviously we'll be bringing those recommendations, all of them, to council before we adopt the plan. So hopefully we can gather some things out of their expertise.
Yeah, if you have a draft version of the plan that you could share, Valerie, could you send it to me? I wanted to make that the meeting that they had, but it was on a Wednesday night, which just wasn't functional for me. I couldn't get out of the restaurant that night. But I would really like to look over the plan if you could send it out. And yeah, I mean, I have used public park restrooms in New York City. So like there is a way to do it under all circumstances. I wasn't delighted about using the public part, but
you're a brave woman, Liz. Real brave woman.
Yeah, but it's something had to happen. I had, a little kid who had to pee, and so it's clearly it's possible, but I think figuring out an option that limits our exposure for, just both, graffiti, other damage, and general filth is obviously is the goal. And I hope that they can make some suggestions to us that we might be able to implement, because I have had, I've had complaints about both restroom access and water access in parks, and both of those things strike me as being somewhat essential. You can't erect a playground with 100 little kids running around and not have a place that somebody can get a drink, and yet that's exactly what we've done all over the city. And you know, it's just there are kids for better or for worse in our community and in every community whose parents basically kick them out of the house, say go play, you know, all day, and don't provide them with, you know, even just, you know, like a bottle of water or something, you know, a bottle full of water to take with them. And that's a really basic human need and right. So anyway, okay. Well, thanks, Valerie. I look forward to checking that out then.
It's
All
in
right.
draft form.
Was that? Sorry?
It's still in draft form.
Yeah, I know. And I probably will never get around to reading all of it, but I'd at least like to look at the highlights. So thank you.
I'll send that.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything else to introduce for the good of the order? All right. Then thank you very much. I look forward to seeing everybody on Thursday.
Same here.
Thank you.
Take
Yep.
care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.